as much as I love college football, they're not interested in meritocracy. They're interested in money and what's going to generate the most money. And those teams and those schools and those conferences would never, ever agree to this.
Who's coming into the SEC in this scenario from last year? Georgia State?
It would be the champion of the Sun Belt, which is Louisiana.
All right.
UL Lafayette, who finished unbeaten in their conference, and probably Appalachian State.
All right. So how are those two then scheduled the next season?
Well,
are they in a pod?
No.
Are they in a?
I mean, you'd have to do like the NFL, right, and go back to not scheduling games out so far in advance with your non-conference and everything else. But I mean, they play an SEC. They play an SEC schedule. You either, if it's divisional, you split the two and put one in the West, one in the East, and they play that schedule. Or it's if they go to the 9-game conference season, you split it up just that way.
We'll see.
But if it's a 9-game where you have two traditional opponents, somebody's getting a bonus.
Well, this works a lot better if there's
teams.
One super conference, and then you're working your way in there. Because what the group of 5 don't want you to know is there's as much parity in the group of 5 at the top of these conferences for football as there is in the Power 5. Take a look at the Conference USA and tell me who wins that conference. Take a look at the MAC, and chances are it's Central Michigan, Northern Illinois, or Toledo. And then once this happens 1 year in, every year we're probably discussing for the right to fall back into the conference one of the teams that's just moved up.
Yeah.
So it becomes very cyclical based on that. Also, if you don't believe in the parity of the group of 5, give one $53 million check to UAB and tell me what happens compared to a $300,000 TV contract in that conference.
Program changing.
Then you're going to fall back, and they're going to be right back in based on this scenario.
But also take away the check from Vanderbilt one time and see what happens there, because that's their entire athletic budget. They don't do anything else.
I would contend we're talking every year about whoever's up and whoever's down. Is Toledo or Northern Illinois going to be the team that moves up and down now?
It's going to be
the same stuff.
It's going to be musical chairs.
And because
the teams that are left or the teams that are relegated are going to be the ones probably getting back in, and those 2 that were added. So it's a shifting musical chair situation. Now, here's the downside of it.
Might be a breakthrough once in a while.
Well, this is why I said, it's a trigger warning for fans of schools that I listed that would have been relegated last year. Now imagine Florida playing a Sun Belt schedule for a season.
Right.
That's not going to get Florida fans excited other than you're going to go 11-1 or 12-0 and win that conference. I mean, Anthony Richardson is going to steamroll the Sun Belt. Right? I mean, they're getting right back up. Vandy, not so much. Vandy lost to ETSU a year ago and should have lost to UConn, who was the worst team in FBS, at home. They may finish middle of the pack in the Sun Belt in year 2 with Clark Lee, right? But a team like Florida in a program, they get immediately back in. And, I mean, if you want to look at it like, well, that was a weird season, where we're playing all these teams we normally wouldn't play, you're going to win a lot of games. So the money element of it would fascinate me. The different level of competition would be interesting. I know this would never happen, but it's fun to imagine a world where this would be real and we're actually talking about so many other games that, for instance, I'm not necessarily watching the Conference USA Championship game and following along, but I would watch that playoff game to decide a spot in the Big 12 because of what's on the line for the next season.